Brilliance Audio presents Justice Lost by Scott Pratt, performed by James Patrick Cronin. I looked around at the circle of empty chairs. There were 2 empty seats to my right and 2 to my left. I was back at Farragut High School outside Knoxville, Tennessee, in the classroom assigned for in-school detention. I'd been there several times in my youth for fighting, but this seemed more serious. The doors were made of iron bars. The walls were concrete block and painted Old Glory blue, the same color as that on the American flag. Hovering over me at the front of the class was Mrs. Judge, a woman I'd dealt with before. Her appearance had changed dramatically, though, since I'd last seen her. Her face was as gray as bone ash, and she was staring at me through tinted glasses that were as thick as the bottoms of old beer bottles and looked almost like goggles. She was wearing a red silk robe with a white lace collar. In her right hand, she held a set of pan-mechanical balance scales, and in her left, she carried a double-edged sword that looked, from where I was sitting, to be razor-sharp. When she'd come into the room a few seconds earlier, she hadn't walked like a normal human. She'd floated across the floor like a ghost. I was trembling. There wasn't much in the world that I feared, but this version of Mrs. Judge terrified me. She seemed to radiate power and danger, and I couldn't escape the feeling that she could incinerate me with one blazing look from her eyes. And if she was quick with the sword, which I was certain she was, my head could be rolling across the floor at any second. "Where are your friends, Mr. Street?" Mrs. Judge said in a slow, gravelly Southern accent. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said. She raised her hands, the sword and scales gleaming, and fire began to swirl around my head. "Don't lie to me, Mr. Street. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Where are your 4 friends who are supposed to be sitting in these 4 seats?" "They're not my friends," I said. I looked up at her hideous face and then back down at the floor. "Do you dare trifle with me? I have no qualms about turning you to dust and blowing you to the far edges of the universe. You will speak the truth in this room." "I had to do something," I said. "You mean you had to take justice into your own hands? You had to become a vigilante?" "Call it whatever you want. I'd do it again." "I want to hear you say it," she said. "I want you to look at me and tell me exactly what you did." I forced myself to look at the face. It was the face of a person, no, an entity, that had been twisted and betrayed and misunderstood and beaten and defeated, yet stood defiantly and continued to fight.